today's the day. I'm going to break it down. I'm going to use the large cup. We're going to go from there, and I'm going to make one color, and we're going to shoot it in a mold, which I have my injector and my molds on the hot plate. It's going to keep the temperature low. I can handle them by hand, but it is going to warm everything up, which is nice. And then they'll be ready for when I clamp them and inject my plastic into each mold. They like to be warm. It's warm here in Florida, I get it, but these molds still want to be nice and warm. So, step number 2, I come in here and I mix my plastisol. Okay, I mix it with a mixer. Get in there, you're going to see the color change from clear, which is separated. It'll be on top. The white will be on the bottom. You want to integrate both. Get them going. I just cover my paddle, rotate it, knock it all off. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pour my plastisol from this bucket into this clean cup. And I'm going to do 2 cups today. If the lid is off and it's open, then you'll get bugs and whatnot landing in it. So with that much plastisol, I'm going to start this microwave at 4 minutes. After 4 minutes, I'll get back with you, show you what's next. Here's 4 minutes with your plastisol in the microwave, and it's still white. We want that to turn clear, so it's going back in. Here it goes. All right, here's 2 more minutes in the microwave. Now we're entering the gel phase, which is, it's like gelatin still, and there's white on the bottom. We want to incorporate that white into the gel. It's not imperative that you make all the white go away. Just stir it up off the bottom. Get it in. That's 6 minutes so far with 2 cups. 4 minutes, then an additional 2, and we need to go back in. I'm going to say for another minute 30 seconds. See where that gets us. Alright, there is an additional minute and 30 seconds. We are still not there yet. It's getting there. We need a little bit more. And I can feel the thickness of it. The trick is to get this to 350 degrees. We're at 340, 345. 345. Okay, so now we're going to hit this at, say, like a 20-second increment. Smaller Pyrex cups, you want to do it in like 10-second increments. All right, now we're in the range, 350 degrees. This is where you want to be. Again, this is not super clear because it's a saltwater blend. It's got hardeners in it, and it definitely isn't as clear as like the worm blends that you would get, a medium or a soft blend, floating feather light, whatever they want to call it. That stuff gets crystal clear. I've got some of it down here. It's like crystal clear. This isn't yet. It will be, but it's not right now. All right, I am going to add 50 drops to this, 2 cups, 25, and we're going to see what 50 drops looks like. And this is root beer brown dye. Let's get after it and see what happens. All right, there's 20 more making. This mix brings us to 80 drops in 2 cups. So, yeah, that'll be good. Now we're at the color I like it. Nice and dark. We're going to get that nice and mixed. Let's check this. So that on that. Yeah, that'll be good. All right, I'll bring you back when we go to the next step. All right, here we go. I let this sit in the cup on top of the microwave until it got to right around 300 degrees. Now we're going to stick it in the vacuum chamber and get rid of all these bubbles. Alright, I like to stop it because it bubbles up. You want to get those bubbles knocked down a little. Alright, we're going to let that do that for another 30 seconds or so. I'm going to shut it off, let the air out. I'll show you what happens next. Alright, we're going to check the temperature. Let's see where we land. We're at about 338. You want to get that stuff off the bottom to check the temperature. No. You check the top and it's not going to be accurate. So 335, that's about perfect. That's where I like to shoot. So I'm going to grab my injector and my mixing block. I'm not going to use today. I don't know why I heated that up. I knew I was just going to do one color, but that's fine. So I have my molds all dialed in, ready, and they're heated. This is nice and warm. It's heated as well. And we're just going to jump right in. I always like to check my injector to make sure it's cleared. Sometimes I'll leave stuff in there and set it aside and not pay attention and go to pull it out and it won't draw because it's full. So yeah, always make sure your injector is cleared. Stick it down in there, draw. I drew all the way up. I tilted upside down and I'm going to purge my injector. Just shoot a little out. Okay, I'm going to come over and I'm going to apply steady pressure, not hard. I don't want to do this fast, but I want to leave it on the mold and I want to apply pressure consistently and then lift it up. I want to fill that, top it off. This is a thirsty mold. Knock it a little so I don't get strings everywhere, and then I'm going to come over and do this one. Doing the same thing. You're just applying pressure and keeping it. Hold it between each port. You want to keep it nice and firm. That'll get everything down in there. It'll eliminate bubbles and voids and all that. You don't want to press too firm. Again, fill each one of these. The reason why is because it'll get down in there, and where at the head of the bait where you put your hook, that's where you're most likely to get your air voids. We'll shoot this plastic back in there if you can. It hardens in the injector, no big deal. But yeah, so put it back in there. We'll clean this out, put it back in there as well. It'll be ready to reheat and shoot again. We'll let these molds cool off a little bit. Doesn't take long, maybe 5 minutes, and then we can demold them, see what we made. All right, we're at the finish line. All we have to do is check and see how this came out. So I'm going to open this mold. Check that out. Those right there are awesome. This mold is warm, so look at that. Yeah, so they're perfectly clear. They look fantastic. And yeah, that's good right there. Holy moly. No bubbles, no voids, no runs, no drips, no airs. You just have to make sure you get everything hot. You got to make sure you vacuum chamber, and you need to inject slowly and figure it out. Each mold is different. Sometimes you inject them fast and just go from one to the next, and some you have to go slow with. This mold right here, which is thirsty, I have to go slow. So there's that. Let's check out what this next one looks like. There you go, 3-inch root beer brown. Okay, here's an example. This one's got it. Okay, so For whatever reason, this one has some bubbles in it, some bubbles there, and that's not from our plastisol having bubbles in it. That's from me injecting it maybe too fast, or probably too fast on this one. But all you do with this is just break it down and throw it back into your plastisol, and it'll remelt. All these right here, look at that. It's perfect. Look at that. Perfect. Fantastic. They all look like that. They're all good. So we'll take all of our sprues and put those inside the plastic, and we'll have these set off to the side and let them cure for 24 hours. And that's it, man. That's making bait 101. My style. That's what I do.